So, the title for the talk today morning is going to be, can I attain nibbana only with Mettā? This question, I get asked this question sometimes, because a lot of people think only certain meditations can help them attain nibbana, right? So we are going to dispel a widespread misconception today, a breakthrough, not a breakthrough, groundbreaking. Before that, let me ask you, what is Mettā? Again. Huh? Unlimited friendliness. Loving kindness. Who said so? Loving kindness. Then? Universal love. Because we normally have personal love. So, the pole opposite is universal love. Did you say unconditional love or unconditional love? Unconditional love. Okay, good. Love is conditioned. So, you can't decondition. Actually, if you look at Prince Siddhartha's life, the Buddha's life, he had a long-term sansaric relationship with Yashodhara. Nobody talks about this. And she even came to him even in his last life. The horse Kantaka and the charioteer Channa, then Yashodhara, Prince Siddhartha. It is said that they were co-born. They were born at the same time. Co-born. Not twins, but co-born to different mothers. So if you look at Yashodhara and Prince Siddhartha's relationship, since many Jataka stories, you see Chandakinnara Jataka. Both were mermaids. And then when he left the palace, actually there is a wrong life of the Buddha, especially in Sri Lanka. Actually, we discussed that in some places. One big issue is that a lot of textbooks, especially the Dhamma school books in Sri Lanka, were written in a way that Prince Siddhartha left the house without letting anybody. I think the same thing has been gone to other texts too, which is untrue. It is not how it was given in the Sutta text. If you look at Ariya Pariyesana Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya, this is the Buddha's autobiography. Buddha himself narrates his story, not somebody wrote it. There are two life of the Buddha stories in the Buddha's in the canon. One is the Vinaya Pitaka's Mahavaggapali. Of course, this might have been written by others, but the Ariya Pariyesana Sutta's life of the Buddha is an autobiography. He narrates how he went through samsara and in his life, how he met 5 bhikkhus and all that. In that autobiography, we see this Pali word, Mata Pitusu Rudantesu. So, Prince Siddhartha left while mother, father and his wife, they were crying. That means they were well informed. Now let's take a look of the sutta. This is not my own thoughts. Let's go to the sutta. Ariya Pariyesana Sutta. Now you will see how the translators have messed up. Ariya Pariyesana, okay. Majjhima Nikaya. There is another title for this. Pasarasi Sutta, but it was same. We'll go to the Pali first. Should be at the beginning. This is how he found out his teachers, Alara Kalam and all those people. Should be somewhere here. Ramaputta. This is the paragraph. Soku aham bhikkhave aparena samena daharova samano susukala keso. Now, this is the time he went through the 4 omens, prognostications. The sick person, an old person, a dead body, corpse, and then a bhikkhu summoned at that time. So he saw them. At that point, his hair was very black. You see, Susukalake, so Badrena Yobbanena. He was in extreme youth at that time. Samannagato. Patamena Vayasa, in his first age, definitely by that time. Akamakanang. Mata Pitunnang Assumukanang Rudantanang. When the mother, father, and all his relatives are crying. Kesa Massu, his hair. Oharetva, having shaved his hairs. Kasayani Vattani, the yellow robe. Achaditva, having worn the yellow robes. Agarasma Anagaryang Pabbajing, went from house to the homelessness. Now here you see Mata Pitunnang Assumukanang Rudantanang. While mother, father, and mother means stepmother, Pajapati Gautami, and definitely Yashodhara is well informed. He cannot leave the house without telling her. But see all these drawings, and he left just by seeing her. So that's a complete false explanation. So this is from the Majjhima Nikaya 26. So that writing, that addition of the Buddha's life is pretty wrong. So in the same way, you can see a lot of true things have been misconstrued by the translators. That's why I urge you to read some suttas. That is the importance. If you learn from English translations, you never know whether they are true or not. Right? If you want to go for English translation, let's go to the English one. You can see there too. Sometime later, while still with pristine black hair, blessed with youth in the prime of life, though my mother and father wished otherwise, weeping with tearful faces, I shaved off my hair and beard, dressed in ochak robes, and went forth from lay life to the homeless. It's proven. So in the same way, an idea about the Mettā practice, whether Mettā practice leads to nibbana or not, has been in long-term debate. But nobody talks about it because they don't find prime locations of these texts. So, Mettā simply means friendliness, unlimited friendliness. But if we bring this to love, it could be taking us to think differently. Now, can somebody tell me the difference between, in your own version, love and loving kindness? Interesting, huh? You have somebody who you're loving, and then there is loving kindness. So how do we separate out these two? That's a good question, right? How do we separate out? Uh-huh. Okay. Like animals? Do animals have expectations? Yes, they do. They want attention. Right? And they are sometimes very jealous too, right? When the owner is going to touch another animal, even a baby, they get really mad. Right? But anyways, the conventional love means that it is with expectations. Okay, can we live without that conventional love? Can we just live only with Mettā? Is it possible? Be honest. Huh? No, that's not possible. Why? Everybody wants to relate to somebody. A sense of belonging is such a good achievement in many people's lives. On top of that, you can think about universal love. Now, in the Mettā Sutta, you can see a stanza which goes, Mettā yatha niyang puttang ayusa eka putta manurakke. Just as a mother who has only one son, the love that she gives to her own one son, we have to practice metta. But that love is personal love. That is not metta, isn't it? The mother's love for her own one son is a personal love, because it's her own born son. But the Buddha's analogy is take that as an example and then practice loving metta. How do we do that? Boundless. That means our love is bounded. Huh? People bound. So we are people bound. Yes, so I think we have to understand these two separately. So the Buddha said that if you are able to fall in love with somebody who truly deserves you, who can really love you, it's a blessing. Definitely, it's a blessing. That's why the Buddha said in Mangala Sutta, Mettā pitu upattana putta darasa sangaho. Taking care of mother and father, and also taking care of your spouse and your children. It's a blessing. Not many people have this blessing. They might think differently. They might want to stay single. But the Buddha said these two differently. He got a lot of support from Yashodhara. That's why he was able to make his choice happen. Now you know, he left the house, as you see in the Arya Pariyasana Sutta. Then he came back after almost 10 years. 6 years, after almost 6 years. Then what happened? When he came to Kapilavattu, the King Suddhodana sent people to bring him, but nobody came back. They all became monks. Right? Then there was one man, one minister intervened. He said, I would go and bring him. But he asked something. Can you give me a chance? I might become a monk, but I will bring him definitely. Others became monks, they did not bring him. What was his name? Kaludai. Kaludai, yeah? A minister's name. So he brought the Buddha to the Kapilavattu. And then what happened? The Yashodhara did not turn up. That's the story. She did not turn up. She's having lots of, pain about what happened. The Buddha knew this. So after giving the Dhamma talk, he went to her chamber. And then she started crying and saying that ever since you left the house, I heard that you shaved your hair. I also shaved my hair. And I heard that you wearing yellow clothes. I also started wearing yellow clothes. And I heard that you eat only one day, one time. I also started eating only one day. So I've been sacrificing even you left the house. Then the Buddha said, he knows this. He knew it. I know this not only from this life. You've been loving me for many, 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 many lifetimes. Then he started narrating the Chandakinnara Jataka story. Right? So in this way we understand the Buddha in his sansaric life as a bodhisattva, he was blessed to have this lady. And that led him to, focus on his path. But fortunately she was also on the same page. Right? So I was trying to say that when you say metta, we have to understand this conventional love and then the unconditional love. Let's say you settle down with somebody and the rest you are trying to practice loving kindness. Or maybe somebody might think, maybe I do the same loving kindness to my wife, my husband, right? But there is a little bit of attachment. That should be okay, because you are trying to make a reference, but for the rest, you are trying to send this unconditional metta. Now, metta, the translation called loving kindness seems to be a poor translation. Because, kindness is the practical way to practice compassion. So you can't bring it to metta. Metta, karuna, mudita, upekka. So when you practice metta, karuna is a step further than that. Mudita is a step further than karuna. Upekka is the highest quality in Buddhism. Highest. So that means the practical way of practicing compassion called kindness cannot be connected to Mettā. Right? Compassion and its practical version is kindness. So Mettā simply means that you are able to practice friendliness. An easy way to think is that you are able to make friendships wherever you go. Some people cannot make as such. They're going to be troublemakers, problem makers. So you know how to talk to people. There are different characters, right? But you know how to make friendships. At least you are able to say hi and bye, right? You know how to survive in that moment, not to become a person who is going to be not nice to other people. So, but that Mettā is not just a meditation with certain rubrics like may I be well, happy and all. So today we are first learning about Mettā in a proper way. This was a talk I gave a few months ago. I'm going to use the notes. Now the Mettā Sutta has two parts. Okay, it has two parts, two contexts. The first part is about, the first 3 stanzas are about how to practice skillful habits. I use this word habit because habits are what form us a good person or a bad person. When you say you have a friend who has a lot of what you call bad virtues, that means this person has been forming bad habits over the time. So Mettā Sutta teaches us how to develop skillful habits, kusala habits, before the Mettā practice. That means you are not able to practice Mettā without developing a certain amount of these 15 skillful habits. If you think that your Mettā practice is in limbo, your Mettā practice is not going anywhere, you just do it, but you don't feel that something is happening. There's no magic transformation happening. It is because you haven't done it in this structured, proper way. All right? So I'm not going to explain a lot. As you can see, I will share it through the note later. Sakko, uju, suju, suvacho, mudu, anatimani, santussako, subharu, appakicho, sallahuka butti, santindriyo, nipako, appagappu, kulesu anunagiddu, nachakuddang samachare, kinchena, binyo pare upavadi. 50. Right? So these habits are skillful habits. We need to develop them. Just to spice up the discussion, I will take 1 or 2 just to tell you like how to develop them. Let's take Nipako, the 12th one. Nipako. Nipako. Nipako means, what is pa-ko? That means, this is about cooking. Cooking, Pachati. In Pali, Pachati means cook. That means properly bake, properly cook. When you eat things that are, you may eat things half baked or half cooked. But if something is half cooked, maybe less cooked, and you might come up with a stomach problem, right? Isn't it? So, pa-ko means that properly cook, whatever properly bake, cook. That means, ni means particularly, in special. That means the particular thing is properly cooked. So the idea is that somebody is properly matured, emotionally matured, mentally matured, intellectually matured, right? So, as a consequence of that maturity, that person is able to attend to any matter without a hesitance. Now you see, when you organize an event, there are certain people come up to your mind. If this person is to come here, I think he will take care of everything. We don't have to worry about anything. If she is there, we don't have to worry about it because she knows how to attend to all these small matters. But when there are other people, they just come and go, right? We don't feel confident. I think the event is going to be a mess at the end. So there are people who are truly grown in their, in their life emotionally, mentally, psychologically, right? Not even physically. Nibbana. So this is a requirement to practice metta, because if you are not fully grown to a certain high extent, you are not able to understand metta to you and to others. This is one. Another one is, let's take Mudu, fifth one. Mudu means soft-hearted, or I would say flexible. Now today, there's a widespread understanding about flexibility. We all like to be flexible hours for working, become a flexible person, become a person who can negotiate, who can discuss for the sake of easy things, right? So if you are not a flexible person in your Dhamma practice in ways, if you think that practicing Dhamma is like a machine, I must do this, I must do this, you are only hitting for a perfectionist thought. I have to do this, do this, do this, do this. Then you are going to be a machine. Buddhism is not a machine, right? Buddhism is a practice that you do with some happiness and with some flexibility. Let's say you miss out on your morning puja. You overslept. There are people who are very worried about at that point. I overslept. I couldn't do the puja. I think today is going to be a bad day for me. It's okay. It's okay. You try to do it, but in case you overslept, it's okay. Right? Don't have to become a part of a mechanism. Buddhism is not a mechanism. Buddhism is a practice that you do whenever you can, not as a machine. Right? This is one small example. And even the meditation. Because there are people who might think, if I don't do the puja in the morning, if I don't do the meditation, my whole day will be a mess. Actually, the whole day will be a mess after that. Because they have given the meaning to the day in the form of puja and meditation. Yes, you can do it. In case you cannot, just forget about it. Maybe you can do it in the evening. Right? So don't be bounded by such perfectionist mechanic thoughts. So flexibility is very important in our practice. Let's take one more. I think we discussed about this yesterday. Appagappu. Sallahuka buddhiya. How do we pronounce that? Not sallahuka buddhi. Sallahuka buddhi. Sallahuka. Lahuka is the word. Sallahuka buddhi. Not sallahuka buddhi. Don't say that. That's a wrong pronunciation. Lahuka. Lahuka means simple. Buddhi means behavior or simple life. Now this guy who wrote a book some time ago, Schumacher, said, small is beautiful, which went into the Buddhist people. Small is golden. Small family is golden. Actually, Sallahuka Buddhi means not small. Simple life. Simple life means to many people many things. Right? It doesn't mean a number. Right? Nowadays, the younger generation don't like to have lots of kids in many Western countries. Now they are having a big issue now. Who is paying the tax for the elderly people now? Right? Now Canada they are going through a big issue. Now there is a large number of senior people. The government pays what you call old age security for everybody who turns 65. Every month they are paying $2,000 around. Everybody. So how does government earn that money? Right? Because one thing is that they are not making children, and there is not a future generation. Right? In 5-6 years, they are having a big issue. Even in Japan, the same issue. Probably in Singapore too. So that means, now here, sal lahuka buddhi means not a life with what you call minimum number of things. Sal lahuka buddhi means you are making a simple life within your lifestyle. Let me ask you, what is a simple life to you? Simple life. I would like to hear different things from different people. Simple life. Is simple life a minimalist life? A minimalist? Nowadays you see that people are moving on to log houses. Houses on the trees. And then they are showing a simple life. No, not many rooms. There is no bed. Where is the bed? It's stuck, embedded onto the wall. Like the Hong Kong style, because the properties are very expensive over there. There is no bed. The bed is coming from the wall. So they are trying to minimize. The interior design has been so minimum in today's time because of the expensiveness. So what does then simple life mean to you? Yes, please, come on up. Yes. You want to go to the mic so they can hear too. What does simple life mean to you? Does the mic work? Maybe to press from behind.
Okay. To me, it will be just normal food, everything is the same. Daily routine is the same.
Simple life means daily, similar daily routine.
Yeah. Cut down on social activities.
Cut down on socialization.
Yes.
Okay.
But to connect with friends is still important.
Connect with who?
Friends.
Friends.
Yes. And
what
relatives.
kind of friends are they?
Good friends.
Good friends.
Kalyana meters.
What should be? Okay.
Well, I used to have all the branded things I want. Now I do not need them.
Okay, good, good.
Thank you, Bhante.
So according to you, cut down on socialize. You're going to be an introvert? Not an introvert, kind of extrovert. Yes.
I cut down on social, but I still meet with my friends. Yeah.
So can you explain to us what you cut down? Because you say you cut down on socialization. What kind of socialization you cut down?
Well,
because you say you still want to have some friends.
Yes. I used to go to karaoke's.
Okay.
Social meetings.
Thanks for being honest.
Social meetings with my husband.
Okay.
You know, great friends meeting for high teas. I don't do that anymore.
Okay, good. Makes sense.
But I still have friends. I go to Dhamma class.
Okay, so making more time puja for them, Kalyana Mittas. Yes. All right, as Buddhists, we need to have a certain socialization, because isolation gives us a lot of bad thoughts. When you are isolated in a room, you will come up with a lot of akusala. So we need a certain socialization. When you are with good friends, that can stop coming up with certain akusalas, right? That is your way of being simple. Any other ways? What does simplicity mean to you? Sal lahuka buddhi.
Bhante, good morning, brothers and sisters. For me, simple life, like, okay, I would say me and my husband again. My son is working, so most of the time he doesn't have time for us because he leaves the house as early as 8 and come back as late as 11, 12 o'clock. That is his job requirement. two of us, in actual fact, from our very tight, busiest schedule working, now our simple life is that every day is that whatever is in the kitchen, that is our breakfast, and sometimes it can drag to even for lunch or brunch. It's very simple, and what we do is that after that, we will just think about if we want to go out somewhere, like he has got a job, maybe because he is doing semi-retirement work. So if he has got a client, we are talking about household products. Mm-hmm. That is the stair lift and the home lift. Most of these client requirements are age-old families. And we will go there, like doing a house call. He will do the job and I'll do a house call. I'll have a bonding time with the client. Because all these are old ladies and alone ladies or gentlemen. So I'll have time that. So finish the talk, and wherever we are, if there's, for example, if we happen to be in Ampang, I'll just grab some yong tau foo and off I go to my mother's house. And we will have our lunch there with my parents. Or I will go to my father-in-law's house if it's somewhere. We just along the way. That's how we do our job. Practically, it's just like it's everyday life, or we will have alternate day that will be a quiet day in the house, just light and easy, what we wish to do, or what we... To me, this is a very simple life already, I find it. Because I get to interact with other people as well as family along our job. And when I've got time, I'm able to come to the Vihara. So these are all, I find that it's a very simple life from what I used to have, the busiest of the busy.
Good. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. On that note, a question can arise this way. Is it that we have to reduce our belongings, things that we own, that we can own? So does simple life always a reflection of small, like small things? Or is it just an attitude? Like let's say there is someone who can own a lot of things, who can buy a lot of things. But that person can change the attitude that person has towards the things, houses. Somebody can own a couple houses, right? And somebody can be a business person. Somebody can be somebody who can own different other things. So just because owning a lot of things compared to somebody, can that person not practice simplicity? What is the Buddhist thought? Then all these bankers, settis must give up everything, right? Kings, settis. If you learn more Buddhism, especially these things, you will understand it is not just cutting down on things, but changing the attitude that you had towards those items will also make you a simple person. But I understand if you have a lot of things, then you will have to maintain them. That is suffering too in a way, right? If you have a very good car, so you have to watch it all the time, isn't it? Somebody will come and vandalize my car, or maybe, if you have a big house, somebody might break in. So you have a lot of insecurities when you have that, right? And if you are with too many good people, you might worry whether they will go away from me, go away from us, right? So you have to maintain, right? That is, of course, a problem in a way, in a certain way. But if you find the good people, if you know how to manage them, I think they can also practice simplicity. So simplicity does not always mean little things, and then you are trying to walk away from this worldly life. But most people take what you call small life, but it is not. So that means even a business person, even who has lots of money, can also be a simple person by keeping them, but changing the attitude that they might have for their things, right? So we need to have a simple life, especially with that attitude. That is very important, right? Okay, that's enough, otherwise we are not able to finish this. So the first part of the Mettā Sutta says us to practice 15 skillful habits as much as we can. Why the Buddha asks us to practice so? That will help you to become someone who can practice Mettā that will prepare you to practice Mettā. Now we are going to Mettā, the second part of the sutta. So I have classified the verses. First, I'm going to take the verse number 4. Yeke chipana bhutatti tasava thavarava anavasesa dighavāye mahantava majjima rassa kānukatula. Does size matter to our practice of Mettā? Huh? Tell me. If it is unlimited, does size matter? Does size or strength matter to us when we practice Mettā? But it says it matters. It matters, in a way. What does this mean? Yeke chipana bhutatti tasava thavarava anavasesa. If there are any beings who are, tasa means terrified, feared, scared. Tavarava means Tavarava. Go to the Mettā Sutta, then you will see. The fourth stanza. This one. Whatever beings there are, weak or strong, tasava. Another meaning is what you call terrified, but tasava tavara, weak or strong. Digavaya, long or short, big. Majjima means medium size, small, subtle, gross. So why do we have to think about these manifestations? Why do we have to think about whether they are strong or they are weak, whether they are long, whether they are short, whether they are big, whether they are medium size? Why do we have to think about these things? That means size matters, strength matters. Now let me tell you why it matters. Have you ever heard a story which has a chanting attached to that, a sutta called Kanda Paritta? What is it? Kanda Paritta. I think if you have a chanting book, you perhaps you may read it somewhere. Kanda Paritta. Kanda, K-H-A-N-D-H-A. You can read it later. Now I'm going to say something interesting. In this Kanda Paritta Sutta, there is a story. The story is that one monk at the Jetavanarama passed away being bitten by a snake. Right? One monk passed away being bitten by a snake while the Buddha was in this monastery. He was with the monks. One of the monks was passed away. Then other monks were confused. Why is it? Every time they see him, he is practicing Mettā. He says, I practice Mettā all night long, all day long. He is practicing Mettā. He is not doing anything else. Mettā, Mettā, Mettā. But the snake stung him and he passed away. Now the monks were confused because Buddha talks about unlimited friendliness. How come he got attacked by a snake? Now you might be scared too, huh? What kind of Mettā are we doing compared to that kind of a monk at the time of the Buddha? Then the Buddha says, yes, I know. He passed away and he practiced Mettā. But his Mettā was not enough. When you practice Mettā, you have to practice inclusively. This particular bhikkhu monk did not practice Mettā to 4 reptile groups. Virupakkehi me mettang mettang kanha gotamakehi cha chabbyaputtehi mettang me mettang kanha gotamakehi cha. There are 4 types of reptiles. Virupakka, chabbyaputta, erapata, kanha gotama. If you look further search about these snakes, you say python, vipers, black snakes. So the monk did not particularly understand who is around in the temple. He just simply practiced metta. May all living beings well and happy. May all living beings this. So those animals, snakes, did not feel his metta. That was the issue here. Let's say you are in a place where there are a lot of elephants. You have to practice metta to them. In particular, may elephants be well and happy. If you are in an area where there are lots of snakes, you have to understand what snakes are there. You have to understand their strength, their way of behavior. Then, of course, they can feel you. It's true. When you understand, then they will feel you. Otherwise, they won't feel you. They will do the same natural things to you. So, the Buddha said, because this monk did not understand the animals surrounded by his area when he meditated. So they did not feel his metta. They stung him when he was walking. That means metta has to be practiced inclusively by knowing the strength, size of these other beings around our houses, places. When you are in a place where there are lots of stray dogs, when you go out from your house, there are lots of stray dogs. In my this tour, I went to a monastery, in Buddhist center. The Buddhist center has 20 dogs in the front door and 20 dogs in the back. So you have to make friendship with them. Otherwise, you can't just move around in Penang. So they are protecting they think that this is their place, right? So if you are surrounded by these stray dogs, then you have to practice metta to these dogs first, in the first place. Not go to the eastern direction, western direction, southern. You never know who they are. So you have to know who they are first, and then you know how to do it, right? So size matters, strength matters. Let's go back to our notes. Yeke chipana bhutatti tasava tavarava anavasesa. Diga, long, mahantava, big, majjima, medium size. Rasa, kanuka, tula, as you can see here. Subtle and gross animals. So you have to do an analysis about which animals are near to me in my house area or wherever I go. So I have to particularly understand. This is the first thing in our metta practice. Getting a sense of which animals, which beings are near me. Second, verse number 5. Dittha vāyeva addittha yecha dure vasanti avidure bhuta va sambhave siva sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitat. Other manifestations also matter. What are others? Visibility, distance, rebirth seeking. Now you are going to understand some more things about this metta practice. Dittha vāyeva addittha. I have to practice metta to those beings that I can see through my naked eyes. And also I have to practice metta to those who I cannot see through my naked eyes. Who are the beings that you cannot see? You said ghost. What kind of ghost are they? Petas. Jnati petas. The sutta called Tirokudda Sutta says that Jnati petas come to the houses. They cannot enter the house, but they come to the intersections near the houses, and then come to the doors and windows expecting, hey, give me good karma, give me good karma. Tiro kudde sutittanti, sandhi singatu kehicha, dwara baha sutittanti. Agantwana sakangaran, they cannot go to other people's house, they only know their house, they come back. But they don't trouble you. They cannot enter your house. But they know when you do a good karma, they are coming to you. Can you give me some good karma? So ghost, we call them petas. And then Deva, Brahma, so we cannot see them too. What are the other invisible beings in Buddhism? What are the other invisible beings other than Deva, Brahma, Peta? Yakkha. Yakkhas. Yakkhas are Devas actually. They are part of Deva. Whose Devas are they? Vessavana's Deva. There are 4 world guardian Devas. Dataratta, Virupakka, Viruda, Vessavana. Vessavana is the head god of the Yakkhas. Their headquarters is in Alakamanda. Alakamanda is their place. There's an interesting Sanskrit poem called Meghaduta, Messenger's poem, which was written by Kalidasa. Kalidasa is giving that the poem, what do you call the poem, is that one yakka was isolated by the Vessavana. He was not executing his duties. So he was left from Alakamanda. So now he's married yakka. And then he's seeing that a cloud is passing in the place that he was stationed. He's telling the cloud, please give a message to my wife in Alakamanda. Yeah, so that's what you call one of the yakkas. What are the other beings? Yakkas, then? Nagas. Nagas. Nagas are those beings who are mostly surrounded in the watery areas, especially oceans, waterfalls. Sometimes some rivers, some waterfalls, they take some beings, They say Nagas' power. Then? Asuras. Yeah, Asuras also invisible beings. And then? Asura is an interesting category because Sakka married to an Asura, right? Asura girl. So they were always in trouble. Devas and Asuras are always fighting each other. Yeah, certainly. You see Dajagga Sutta, in Dajagga Sutta, some Devas come to see the Buddha saying, Bhante, these Asuras are very powerful now, they are taking us all the time. So can you give us some blessings so we can fight them back? Yeah, Dajagga Sutta, I think you can see that in your chanting book. So then the Buddha asks, okay, I can help you, but tell me, what do you do when you are scared from Asuras? Now Asuras are hellish beings, but Asuras attack Devas. Interesting. They are very powerful beings. Then they said, Bhante, when we are scared in our fights with Asuras, we are asked to look at the edge of the flank of certain Deva, Pajapati, Varuna, Isana, and then also Sakka. But still our fear arises. We are fear-stricken. Still we have horripilation. Still we have terror. But our fear has not gone away. Then the Buddha said, it is not a surprise, because when you are scared, you have to think about someone who has no fear. All these devas have fears. They have not removed lobha, dosa, moha. Then of course they cannot help you. So when you are scared, that means you are feared. Fear comes from lobha, dosa, moha. At that point, if you're going to think about someone who has the same lobha, dosa, moha, they cannot help you. Right? That's why when you say Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahatu Samma Sambuddhassa, we feel that serenity, happiness, because the person has already overcome lobha, dosa, moha. Then the Buddha said, okay, I will teach you a methodology. Next, the Buddha didn't say the war is bad. It is not his business to say anything. He said, next time when you are scared from the Asuras, you can do something like this. You can think about me. When you are scared, when you are horripilated, you can think about me. How can you think about me? Itipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vijjācarana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati Sattādeva Manusāna Buddho Bhagava. But keep in mind, not a mere reading. You have to know what is Arahang, what is Samma Sambuddho, what is Vijjācarana Sampanno. You have to know what is that. In case, after thinking about me, your fear is to keep continuing, then you have to think about the Dhamma. That means Dhamma should be more beneficial than the Buddha at a certain point. Noche Buddhang Sarayata Loka Jettan Narasabang Ata Dhammang Sarayata Niyanikang Sudisita. If by thinking about the Buddha cannot help you, you have to pick the Dhamma. Swakkato Bhagavata Dhammo Sandittiku Vakaliko Ehi Passiko Upanayiko Pachattang Vetabbo Vinyoheti. But in case Noche Dhammang Sarayata Niyanikang Sudesitang Ata Sanghang Sarayata Punyakettang Anuttara. In case after thinking about the Dhamma's 6 qualities, still your fear awaits, then you have to pick the Sangha. Trust me, I tell you, the Buddha says, after thinking about the Sangha, your fear must go away. That means Sangha is more powerful. Because when you think about Sangha, you might think about some monks in some temples. No, Sangha is a wider community. It's a very wide community, which includes Bhikkhu Sangha, Bhikkhuni Sangha, Upasaka Sangha, Upasika Sangha. Right? It normally goes by becoming a Sotapanna. Even a lay person can become a Sotapanna. Then that person becomes a Sangha, Upasaka Sangha. If a man becomes a Sotapanna, male, Upasaka Sangha. If a lady becomes a Sotapanna like Visakha, Upasika Sangha. So, Buddha is also part of Sangha. Actually, when Mahapajapati Theri, she handmade a robe. Just before she passed away, she brought this to offer to the Buddha. Like what you do, Buddha Puja. Like how we do. Then the Buddha said, do not offer this to me. Do not offer this robe to me. Offer this to the Sangha. When you offer this to the Sangha, I am also part of that Sangha. Then who created this Buddha Puja? What do you think? Who created the Buddha is separate from the Sangha. That is a later practice. So people separated Buddha differently. Dhamma has some books in a shelf, library. Sangha, those who are living in a monastery. You cannot separate them in true Buddhism. That's why the Buddha said, if somebody offers some dana to me personally, and if somebody offers dana to me and the Sangha, that is more powerful than offering just for me. Right? So these are school Buddhism. School Buddhism, Theravada and other Sarvastivada, these Buddhism. They have separated Buddha from Dhamma, Dhamma from Sangha, Buddha from Sangha. In true Buddhism, if the Buddha is such different, then he would have allowed Mahapajapati to offer it to him. Right? Anyway, so I'm just talking something in addition. So there are Nagas, there are then Yakkas and Asuras. Asuras. And finally what happened, Devas sometimes lost the battle to Asuras. So then they went to, Sakka went to Asura world, then found a girl. And he brought that girl to the Tavatinsa, married her. So they made some peace. She immigrated to Tavatinsa world from Asura world. Interesting. Anyway, so Asuras. What are the other beings? Pisachas. Little bad guys, Pisachas. And then there are so many beings. There is a Canadian monk who wrote a very interesting book. You can read that. It's a very bulky book actually, about these beings. He lives in Thunder Bay. What's his name? Let me see. Cosmology. Buddhist cosmology. Put Thunder Bay. Arrow River Hermitage, yes. This is the book. Ajahn Punnadhammo. Very interesting book. He has actually meticulously found out all the references from the text. Yeah, this book. The Buddhist Cosmos. I will show you how interesting is this book. Okay, go to the PDF. Going to work. Yes, PDF. The Buddhist Cosmos, Ajahn Punnadhammo. You can see how he has made all the cosmological point, and here you can see these beings somewhere here, the lower realms, Petas, and how did Arhan Moggallana see these Petas, transference of merits. Vimana Petas, this is one kind of Petas. When these Petas travel, they bring their mansions Can you bring your own house wherever you go? These Petas can bring their mansions to wherever they go in the universe. Niraya, location, lifespan. I'm trying to look at miscellaneous beings. Yakkas, Pisachas, Pansupisachas, Rakkas, Kumbandas, Kinnaras. And Devas, they are different Devas, right? All right. So, it's a very interesting book. Maybe I can share later onto your WhatsApp group. Okay, good. Yes, we only take these three because we don't have time to talk about all these beings, just to minimize they are more powerful beings, more than the, Pisachas, right? We say Deva, Naga, Mahiddhika, and all powerful beings, so that includes all the others. So I feel that they feel our Mettā, because we have to understand who they are, So, Ditta, Aditta means those ones we cannot see. Visibility is not sure. Yecha dure vasantiya, those who are living near, those who are living far. How do we understand that? Those who are living near your place, in your country, maybe other beings everywhere. Bhutava sambhavesiva. These two have to be explained properly. Bhuta means, who are the Bhutas? Now, when I explained this sutta long time ago in Vancouver, in my local temple that time, there was a child. I probably think he was grade 5 that time. After the Dhamma talk, he came up to me and he said, Bhante, my father calls me every day as a Bhuta. Is that the same Bhuta you are talking about? I said, he mocks this guy, his own son. Bhuta is a pejorative term in Sri Lankan tradition. Say, you are a Bhuta, you are not doing things well. But here, Bhuta, the Bhuta means everybody who has been born but not yet passed away. So we all are Bhutas now. Those ones who already passed away are called as Petas. Peta means those ones who already passed away, departed. But those ones who are still living are called as Bhuta. Right? So now you are going to practice Mettā to all the Bhutas, all living beings, not yet passed away. Sambhavesiva means those who passed away but now looking for a next life. Right? Now looking for a next life. In science, they might call it zygote. Actually, when our consciousness departs from our body, when we die, our consciousness becomes super smart. Why do I say so? That is the point that our consciousness has to find a good body. Now, when I study some certain Abhidhamma things, not very important, but what I have found was there are certain zygotes, our consciousness, sansara consciousness, bhavanga consciousness, that goes into someone's body and then think this is not a good body and come out of that body. We call it a miscarriage. A lady is experiencing a miscarriage. Goes and you see the physical part is dead already, but the consciousness has departed from that body. Right? From the consciousness side, bhavanga consciousness side, goes and think this is not a good place for me. That means consciousness has to be super smart to do that. Right? Otherwise, he cannot come back like that. Sometimes, there is one consciousness goes inside, and there is another consciousness also goes inside. Huh? What? We could call it as a transgender. Yeah, why not? Transgender, that is a Buddhist way of looking at it. But two are getting merged. And you call it, how come somebody is transgender? Right? These are explanations about LGBTQ in Buddhist way. So, there are many things that are happening. Right? And there are a lot of sansaric consciousness are waiting to go inside into a proper body. So then we have to understand the rebirth seeking, sambhavesi means rebirth seeking consciousness. That means when our consciousness, the samsara consciousness departs our body, it becomes super smart. Otherwise, he cannot or she cannot. It is genderless. This genderless samsara consciousness cannot enter into the right body. So there are exceptions where it goes inside and comes back thinking not a good body, leaving up to a miscarriage. We taking as transgender and a couple other things. So, yes. Huh? Yeah, this is Gandhab. Another name for Sambhavesi is Gandhab. Another name.
Waiting for rebirth.
Huh?
Waiting for rebirth.
Actually, they are not waiting. Now Tibetan Buddhism talks about bardo state. But we don't have a bardo state. Because once you pass away, consciousness is reborn somewhere. Consciousness cannot stay alone. It's a very instant moment. Because Nama Rupa has to always work together. I think this is a very small nanosecond of time that I'm talking now here. That consciousness becomes very super smart. Because cannot stay alone. Nama Rupa has to always to be together. Now, there's a sutta called Nala Kalapa Sutta. Nala Kalapa Sutta in Samyutta Nikaya. The Buddha gives an example. There are two cows, white cow and then the black cow, right? So they are both roped together, right? So how do we understand? Is it the white cow is roped by the black cow or the black cow is roped by the white cow? Now Buddha asking that question. Both are roped together. In the same way, you cannot take one out of the other one. They all are depend on each other. Nama-rupa. So consciousness, when it departs, it becomes super smart for a very much nanosecond and finds its place on the way. So one term is Gandhapa. So we don't think that there is a gap between that new life and this life. The way how I understand this is that, let's say someone, now you might think your relative became a Peta. So he or she needs good karma. But now he's a Peta, already reborn somewhere. Somebody might say, until the Peta goes to a good life, that particular gap could be a bardo. I mean, in Tibetan explanation, they might say there is a intermittent stage between the death and the new life. We can say that understanding mostly relates to a way how the dead person is finding a better life. But already he is reborn. She is reborn. So we cannot say there is a gap. But the way how we can explain is that depending on the happy or unhappy life, we might see a gap. But it is not a gap. They are already born. I remember the monk, I always share this story. There was a very good monk passed away. And other monks were going to cremate him. The Buddha said, don't cremate him. Then they asked why. He is coming back as a moth to his robe. He likes his robe very much. So don't cremate his. He likes his robe very much. That means any likeness of our life is going to be a dangerous thing. Even the robe, even the temple, even the Bodhi tree, even the pagoda. Because you might pick up sensual things as life, but not even sensuous. People like for spiritual things. Then the monks ask why. He is coming back in a moment of time as a moth. That means we should not attach to things what we have. Right? Let's say you may have a house, you may have certain things you have been making in your life, maybe your old stuff, sentimental stuff, some writings. We will keep them. But we have to have this understanding one day I'm leaving all these things. I have to let it go. We will keep them, but we have to develop that understanding. Otherwise, we will become hoarders, bad hoarders, right? Piling up a lot of things and then attaching to those things. One day, we will die by thinking those things, right? Remember the story of Todeya? One man passed away, and now his son became the owner of the house. and he became very rich also because of father's money. So he thought, I would give a dana to the Buddha. But now the house got a dog. At that time, dogs can guide people. Right? And then he sent the dog to the temple, Jetavanarama. Right? Bring the Buddha over here. In today's time, don't send a dog to the temple to bring the monks. The monks will be angry. Never send cats and dogs to temple. Right? There is a funny story in Sri Lanka, true story. One tuk-tuk driver was asked to go to the temple to bring the chief reverend. Right? So this tuk-tuk driver did not sleep last night. So he went to the temple, he saw the chief monk was talking to another devotee. So he fell asleep. So he heard a sound, just as the chief reverend got in the tuk-tuk. So he brought the chief reverend to the house. And people are asking, where's the chief reverend? What happened? No, the temple dog got in the tuk-tuk. He's in the back seat. Yes. So there are a lot of things like that. So anyways, now the dog went, now is bringing the Buddha and other monks to the house. But the dog, actually this dog is not anybody else. The dog was his father. Yes. So, this is a sutta, Cholakamibanga Sutta Majjhima Nikaya. Then the dog didn't like his son spend money for the dana. So he wants to confuse the Buddha on the way. So he's trying to go to different other wrong roads. Then Buddha noticed that 2 times. Third time, when he's bringing them to a wrong road, he said, Todeya, I know you. You did the same thing when you were living. Don't do it again. He knew that he was noticed by the Buddha. He left on a rural road. And he went to the house. Now he is in the kitchen. So the Buddha and monks came in, and then they were offered the dana. And then in the meantime, he asked son, Subba, to come closer to him. He said, don't get offended. I have something to tell you. The dog that you sent to us, the house dog in your house, is not anybody. That's your father. He got mad about it. Son doesn't like to accept that his father became a dog. If you want to know it with proof, give him some food now, let him sleep, and then ask, dear father, where did you bury the treasures, the wealth? He will tell you, show you. He did the same thing. Then he brought him to another area in the kitchen, and he started digging that area. Then he asked people to dig that area. He found all the wealth. Right? So life is like that. When you are attached to your things, you will become somebody to protect them. You have to go to a good place. You come back to protect those things. Why you are wasting your sansaric life? At least you have to be happy, I have good things, I have to go to a better life. But you have so much attachment to what you have, you come back as a dog to protect them. That's such a very wasting life. Right? It's one story. There are a lot of stories like that, but I just make it short. That means those beings who are looking for a life. So we have to understand our Mettā practice has to extend to beings who you can see, beings you cannot see, beings who are near, beings who are far away, beings who are beings at the moment, not yet died, especially in our life, and then Sambhavisi mean those who are at the moment, during this time, trying to look for a body. And then Sabbe Sattva Bhavantu, may all beings be well and happy. Then the third thing is verse number 6. Naparo paranni kubbeta nati manyeta katta chinang kanchi vyarusana patiga sanya nanya manyasa dukkha minchai. I already explained this verse yesterday, remember? That means another very important thing to understand in our Mettā practice is never cheat other people. It's a part of Mettā. There may be somebody who practice, may I be well happy in the morning, but by noon time, they're going to cheat on other people. Why is it? They don't know about this. They might think cheating is not a part of Mettā. But cheating is given exclusively in this Mettā practice. That means never ever cheat on anybody. That means you cheat on yourself at the end. Ill will, anger and harm. Mettā practice in those evil events. How do we understand? Naparu parang nikubbeta, let no one cheat on others. Nati manyeta kattachinang kanchi, let no one insult, despise other people. Even you have chances, don't do that. You have lots of opportunities to do it, but you are not doing it. You're such a gentle, great being. You have a lot of opportunity, you have a lot of jeers, you have a lot of facilities, but you are not going to do that. You're making that discipline onto you. Vyarosana patigasanya, in anger and patigasanya, evil thought. Importantly, nanya manyasa dukkhamicchya, na anyang anyasa dukkham. Let no one expect another person's suffering. For whatever the reason, even you were harmed, but you never think about, you never wish other person to be unhappy. See the level of our Mettā, right? This is so important, right? When the war happened a couple months ago between two countries, people would like to take sides. A lot of people, they take sides religiously, ethnic-wise. But as Buddhists, we are thinking, may peace come to these individuals, regardless of whatever their political agendas, religious notions, ethnic notions, right? Now, let me share with you a story about this idea of anger. I normally advise people to practice Dhamma with some wisdom. You might say this is smartness. There is a story in the Itivuttaka Pali. A cobra, a naga, went to a hermitage. The naga told the hermit, dear hermit, I want to take 5 precepts today. Interesting, huh? Then the hermit said, you are a cobra, you cannot practice 5 precepts. Right? You can be easily angry. He said, no, I'm trying my best today to practice these 5. So please give me. Then he thought, this is a different kind of cobra. So I'm going to give the precept to him. Then he gave the precept. So after the precept, he slithered. He went to another area from the hermitage. And somehow he was going through a place where a farmer was stacking up a pile of firewood. Somehow he got stuck into that firewood. Now he cannot do anything in his own way, right? Because now he was stuck in the firewood with lots of pain, excruciating pain. He did not do anything because sila, right? Panatipata, you cannot kill, right? So with so much patience, tolerance, he stayed. But there is lots of pain for the cobra. So finally, the farmer brought the firewood stack onto his house and he saw a tail wagging somewhere of the firewood. He thought, oh, definitely a poisonous guy. And he grabbed a stick and did something. He was slowly moving away. He thought maybe a rattlesnake. Then at that time there was a notion that when you give precepts to somebody, that person has to come in the evening to feedback. How was my sila practice today? So the Naga went back to the hermitage by the evening. Then when Naga went there, hermit asked, hello Naga, how is your precepts today? See, look what happened to me. I didn't do anything, but see what happened. Then he asked what happened. He said, this farmer put me into a firewood, brought his house, and then I was now having lots of pain. Then the hermit told something interesting. You know, what I told you was not to kill, but you could have shown you can sting, but you are not stinging. If you showed that at the beginning, he would have not, stuck you to the firewood. That means in our life, when we are working with people, there are some bad guys who are going to misuse us, isn't it? So we are not doing bad things to them, but we have to show that we are people, we are somebody. Don't do this. Sometimes we may have to speak up, but we are not going to damage them, attack them. I think that's very necessary. Buddhism is not a philosophy or Dhamma teaching that you let other person to do all the harm to you and then say, oh, it's Mettā, you know. That's not Buddhism. Learn from the Naga. So sometimes you have to show that this is wrong, but you are not going to do anything to that person. So you creating a safer space between that, the bully attacker and you. Otherwise they are going to take advantage from you, right? That's a safe space, huh? Safe space, you have to create that. So now we understand under verse 6, no cheating, no ill will, no anger, no harm, expecting everybody to be happy. Fourth one, nature of Mettā. What is the nature of my Mettā? Mātā yatā niyang puttang, ayusa eka putta manurakke, evampi sabba bhutesu, mana sambhave aparimana. I have to practice Mettā just as a mother who has only one son, how she is giving her own personal love to that son. I have to take it differently. I have to take it differently and then to spread to all living beings. But how to do it though? We have to discuss about it. Now mother does it because she has a connection to her body, that the son came out from her womb, so she feels it. But how do we do that to other people though? That's interesting, right? She has certain thing to think about. But for us, the nature of Mettā at this point is at least you wish other people happiness. That's enough. You wish other people happiness. That's enough. Because sometimes there are people who might think, depending on what they went through, that may you meet with something bad. Remember the story, this is an Indian story. One mother didn't like the son of what he is going to do. He said, don't go out of the house today. If you go out of the house, you will meet a very bad buffalo and he will attack you. What happened? He left, he didn't listen to his mother. He met that bad buffalo on the way, right? And then he wished, may what my mother really wish happen now. The mother never expect son to be attacked by a buffalo. So she just said just to scare him. Then buffalo went away. May what my mother truly wish happen now. That's interesting. And then the buffalo went away. That means this all-pervading happiness is very important. I think that's how we understand the nature of Mettā. And remember another story from the Khuddaka Nikaya. A newly wedded family with their son wanted to go to see a hermitage, very long-term hermitage. Hermit, they want to see and get the blessings from him. On the way, they stopped by and their son was bitten by a snake on the way. And then they rushed to the hermitage, asking the hermit, dear Lord, please do something, do some blessings for our son. He got bitten by a snake. We understand there were no medical treatments as such like today. And then the hermit, okay, I have been a monastic for 15 years. I kept my good things in the proper way. By the power of my monastic life, may your son get back to normal. Now the interesting things are coming out. Huh? The poison that has spread across the body of the baby went down from head to the chest because of that asseveration, that truth. Then he said to the couple, I have done my part, now you have to do your part. Then the lady said, ever since I married him, I lost my true love to him. So, by the power of that truth, may our baby get back to normal. It's true. She didn't love him after they married. Something happened. Maybe a bad thing happened. Actually, he also knew that at that time. He didn't know that before. So it said, the poison from a chest went down to somewhere like legs or thighs. And then the man he had to bless too, he said, may the cobra who stung my baby not be in danger. I make Mettā to this cobra. So the poison left the body. That means any truth can be used. Any truth, even you did a bad karma, you have to accept that bad. It's a truth. Not even the good stuff, but we of course we take the good stuff. So this incident shows us how does the form of blessing work. And then the direction. Mettancha sabbalo kasmin mana sambhave aparimanang uddang adojatiriyancha asambadang avirang asapatnang. That means, if you go to the translation, verse number 8, you can see over here, cultivating boundless thoughts, loving Mettā towards the whole world, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, free from hatred and enmity, right? So unbounded Mettā. Mettā as the best attitude, mood in your daily life. Is our mood changing all the time? Why is our mood changing since morning? Not today, huh? Today you have the best mood. Depending on the conditional factors that are coming to us. Phone calls, what you see on internet, what you hear, right? What you meet, right? The Buddha said, if you want to spend the day with the best mood, that is none other than Mettā. Well, let's see. Tittang charang nisinno va sayano va yavatassa vigata midhu etang sating aditte brahma metang. Brahma metang. Brahma means the highest mood, highest state of the mind. Tittang, when you stand. Charang, when you walk. Nisinno, when you sit. Sayano, when you sleep. Yavatassa vigata midhu, as long as you are awake. You are not into sleep. Etang sating aditteya. You should bring this sati, Mettā sati into your life. Because it is the highest mental state, the highest mood that you can spend the day. If you have Mettā, you cannot cheat on other people. If you have Mettā, you cannot wish other people unhappiness. That means the highest mood. So what are the times you may curse other people? What are the times you may think bad of other people? The moment you leave from the Mettā practice. You are leaving from Mettā practice. That means your Mettā is gone somewhere. Then again you pick up the chanting book, I have to be in Mettā, right? Only when you grab the chanting book, Mettā Sutta, right? When you don't grab the chanting book, no Mettā. That's going to be an issue. Mettā has to be in our mindset. The Buddha said, talk with Mettā, think with Mettā, then act with Mettā. So then how come it's going to be a meditation? We have to talk to many people, so talk with Mettā. We have to act all the time, act with Mettā. We are thinking all the time. So think with Mettā. It's going beyond the normal guideline meditation. Then, finally, the final goal of Mettā practice, what is it? Dittincha anupagamma silava dassanena sangpannu kamesu vinaya gedang nahi jatu gabbhaseyang punareti. The meaning. Dittincha anupagamma. Yesterday we talked about ditti. Dittis are very dangerous. That's why we have to find the right view, samma ditti. So having not come to any views, don't come to any views, political, religious views. Have samma ditti. Silava, virtuous, dassanena sampanno means becoming a sotapanna person means dassanena sampanno. Kamesu vinaya gedang. Remove, overcome greed for karma. That means karmas are okay, sensuality is okay, but don't bring greed towards karma. Karma is, you cannot live without karma, right? Can you? You cannot. You have to accept that. Be honest. Be very honest. Then the Dhamma practice works. Otherwise, you are doing a hanky-panky practice, right? We need karma, but we don't need karma with greed. Tell me an example. How can karma become lobha? How can lobha goes inside karma? Tell me an example in your life. An example? You all like food, huh? Taste. It's a karma, right? Rupa karma, saddha karma, gandha karma, rasa karma. Rasa karma, taste karma. Now, how does rasa karma become greed? How come it is going with the greed? Because we have to have rasakama without the greed. Let's say, huh? For varieties. It's not lobha. If you go for different restaurants, overeating could be a lobha. Yes, definitely. That is inside the eating. I mean, choices wise, if you are thinking that I don't eat anything without this particular food today, you are so greedy for that food. Otherwise, you feel, no, I haven't eaten. So you're going to eat again. Overeating comes. So you are not surviving that way, right? And if you don't get the food, you are going to make a scene. You are going to yell at other people. Maybe you get the food. You haven't put enough salt in that. You haven't made it properly. So you're going to raise your voice, and because you are so greedy about the food, right? That is when rasakama become a lobha. What about sound? Saddakama. You are listening to a song. Without that song, you cannot sleep. One day, power goes off. Maybe somebody deleted that song from your pen drive. Then what will happen? Then you are creating lots of anger about that person. How come you deleted my favorite song? Maybe the chanting. Maybe it might be the chanting. That's why we have to practice nekkhamma. Whatever happens, if somebody comes and delete and remove whatever my stuff, I'm okay. I have a good mind. I can stabilize my mind, right? Let's say you are going to chant. Somebody in your house misplace your book, chanting book. But you are going to chant the Mettā Sutta. Now you are going to blame everybody in the house. Where is my chanting book? Give it to me. You guys messing up with my book. But then you are going to say, Karaniya matta kusale. That's so funny, right? When people don't understand what is in the book and then trying to chant that book, and then there are a lot of practical issues. Okay? So whatever is going to go away from me, I should be okay. That is our mindset that should happen before we die. But till you live, you have to love people around you, take care of them, do the responsibilities. That's really important. That's a part of your practice, right? There are people, when they go to Dhamma, they give up everything. You make your own food, I do my Dhamma practicing. Can you do so? You are not supposed to do so. Remember, the Sotapanna, wife of the hunter. You heard that? This is a story. There was a hunter whose wife is Sotapanna. Every day he goes to do hunting. Wife has to give the arrow, bows and everything. And then somebody asks, you are a Sotapanna, how come? No, that is my responsibility. I don't like what he's doing. That's my responsibility as a wife. See how things are working, right? So don't leave your responsibilities, because it affects your Dhamma path in a way. You might think that you can drop everybody and go, but it won't work, right? So, kamesu vinaya, kamas are okay, but do not bring lobha to kama. Now there are people who say, kamas are not good, we have to leave all the kamas. That's a wrong statement, because Buddha says, not vinaya kama, kamesu vinaya gedaham. Having, let's see the translation in a proper way. See this translation. This translation, with sensual desires abandoned. This is a wrong translation. What it says is that one having overcome the greed in regard to the kama. It's a wrong translation. It says you have to remove all the sensual desires. That's why people are misunderstood. What is the problem? Not having enough knowledge about the Pali. This is the issue. We need some knowledge of the Pali. And then, nahi jatu gabbaseyam punareti, not come back to this worldly life. All right, and now I want to come back to my topic here. Can I attain nibbana only with metta? Go back to this sutta. This sutta is called Attaka Nagara Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 52. One day, a businessman called, what was his name? He has a name here. Let's go. Dasama. Sutta is Attaka Nagara, Majjhima Nikaya 52. This businessman's name is Dasama. He went on a business trip and then he wanted to meet Bhante Ananda. He approached one temple called Kukkutarama. Kukkutarama means? What is Kukkutarama? Now one person translated Kukkutarama means monastery of chicken feet. I said, wow, chicken feet? That's so nice, you know. Kukkuta means chicken feet. But it's not chicken feet. It's the name of somebody. Let's see a translation here. We'll see. I don't know whether this is the person. The wealthy citizen, Attakanaga. Now at that time, the householder Dasama, wealthy citizen, had arrived at Pataliputta on some business. He went to the chicken monastery. See, this is ridiculous, huh? It's not the chicken monastery. It's the monastery made by the person called Kukkuta. When you translate every word, you will go to the chicken monastery. And see another translation. Bhikkhu Bodhisan, not mentioning the names. Then he went to the certain bhikkhu in Kukkuta's park. Better. That's a good one. Kukkuta is a man. In these translations. See? Then Dasama went to the chicken park. See the issues. Right? Anyways. So, Dasama businessman went to this temple called Kukkutaram. That means the temple which was built by, like Anathapindika, another banker called Kukkuta. His name is Kukkuta, not chicken feet or chicken monastery. And then he said, Bhante, I want to see Bhante Anand. I heard that he is around this area. And they said, he is not here. He is somewhere else. You see, householder Venerable Ananda is staying near Vesali in the little village of Beluva. This is the place where Buddha passed away. And then he went up to Bhante Ananda, said, Bhante, we are very sensual people. I want to know what are the different ways to attain Nibbana. What are the different ways, different meditation ways to attain Nibbana. Then, I have to go back to my notes probably. I gave a full talk about this at D-Cradle a week or 2 weeks ago. You can see that maybe later. Yeah, here. Then Bhante Ananda says there are 11 ways to attain Nibbana, not one way. This was the talk I gave, 18 January. But anyways, one can attain Nibbana by only practicing first jhana. Now what do you hear from many people? You have to practice first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seven, eight, and then only you attain Nibbana, which is a wrong statement. And here Buddha says, Bhante Ananda says, the Buddha said to him that only by practicing first jhana you can attain Nibbana. We will learn how it happens. Only by practicing second jhana you can attain Nibbana. Third jhana also the same. Fourth jhana same. Now the interesting thing is not that. Only by practicing Mettā you can attain Nibbana. Interesting, right? Only by practicing Karuna, compassion, you can attain Nibbana. Not only them. Only by practicing Mudita, you can attain Nibbana. Karuna is smiling, Our Karuna. Only by attaining Upekkha, also you can attain Nibbana. Then Akasananchayatana, Vinyananchayatana. Now let's go to the sutta. We'll find out how does someone go to Nibbana just by first jhana. We will see. Householder. It is when somebody quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unskillful qualities, enters and remains the first jhana, which has vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, right? Rapture, bliss of all that. While placing the mind and keeping it, this is the normal process of the first jhana. Then, that person reflects even this first jhana is produced by choices and intentions, abhisankhara and abhisanchetana. These two words are very interesting. Then he or she understand whatever is produced by sankharas and chetana, they are impermanent and liable to cessation, go to nirodha. Then what happened? This helps him or her to understand nibbana. In case he or she cannot further improve this knowledge and become a arahant, then he or she is going to be reborn in one of the 5 pure lands. I always say we have not one pure land. How many pure lands do we have? 5 pure lands. Tell me, what are those pure lands? The only pure land we know is from Mahayana, where people say by chanting about the name Amitabha. But in early Buddhism, the Buddha says there are 5 pure lands. Aviha, Atappa, Sudasi, Akanita, the highest place. Even Sakka, head god of Tavatins, would like to be reborn here. You know why? When somebody is reborn in this highest Brahma world, they have the same age like everybody. Now, when you are reborn in human world, you may be too small, you may be young, you may be in middle age, you may be old. But everybody who is reborn in this Akanita world have the same age, young, until. But the nice thing is they all going to Nibbana. So, here we can see. Now we can see here, when you come to the first jhana, you are not thinking jhana is only the bliss. You are thinking first jhana is made by choices and intentions, sanya and chetana. What is that? Sanya, yes, everything that is not nibbana is what you call by sankhara. Sankhara and chetana. The only thing that is not sankhara is nibbana. And chetana means you wanted to attain first jhana. That means you already thought. Everything that is sankhara made, chetana made, are liable to the changes. So then you understand this change, and then you are going to practice impermanence, change that will help you to attain nibbana. That means even the first jhana is enough. But when people don't know about this, they encourage to practice jhana in the Hindu way. Hindu way means first, second, third, fourth, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. So that means it's a wrong understanding about the ways of attaining nibbana. Now we go to the Mettā. Furthermore, someone meditate spreading a heart full of love, Mettā, to one direction, to the second direction, third direction, fourth direction. In the same way, below, across, everywhere, like how we learn under the second part of the Mettā Sutta, all around, they spread a heart full of Mettā to the whole universe, abundant, expansive, limitless, free of enmity and ill will. Then they reflect even this Metta's release, heart released by Mettā is produced also by sankharas and chetana. That means they all are conditioned at the same time. Chetana means? What does chetana means? Chetana? Volition. That means how we make karma. That means you are intentional. So, Mettā also an intentional thing. So you have to do it by intention, right? So you understand my Mettā is made by sankharas, means fabrications or formations, and then chetana means volitions. And then you understand if any meditation practice is made by sankhara and chetana, then they are liable to subject to anicca. Then you take a second route, second step from first jhana to anicca, Mettā to anicca, karuna to anicca, mudita to anicca, upekkha to anicca. When you practice anicca along the line of Mettā, karuna, mudita, upekkha, first jhana, second, third, fourth, you are able to overcome all the akusalas, asavas, and attain nibbana. In case you cannot, then you are going to be reborn as an anagami person in those 5 pure lands. Then you will attain nibbana over there. Now, the question, can I attain nibbana only with metta practice? Yes. The answer is yes. Not even metta. Then how do we go for the choice? Let's say somebody can do karuna better than metta. He or she can put oneself in other person's shoes very well. Then you go for karuna. You want to empathize people, you want to feel other people's problems very well, you practice karuna. Somebody is better than somebody else in terms of mudita, then you can go practice mudita. But if you take the bare minimum practice called metta, metta can be used to attain nibbana. All right, any questions? You mean metta? I think it starts from what do you call Buddha Anussati. Buddha Anussati, Mettā ca, Asubham Maranasa. They are recollections actually. No, they are a different way of classifying some recollections actually. Let's say now Buddha Anussati, Mettā ca, Asubham Maranasati. Now somebody can contemplate on death, Metta or Buddha. They are not like this. No, it doesn't say that somebody will attain Nibbana by thinking about Buddha. It is just a normal practice you can do. Actually, those stanzas were written by senior monks later. Buddha Anussati, Mettā ca, Asubham Maranasati, Iti ima Chaturarakka, Bhikkhu bhaveya silava, Ananta vittara gunang, Gunato nussaram muning, Bhaveya buddhima bhikkhu, Buddha Anussati madito, Savasane kili. They are written by monks at a later time, like Jayamangala Gatha, Bahung Sahasram Abhining. They were written by Thai monks in Thailand. So, I mean, we have to understand the true text and what was written after. So, don't worry about that. So, this leads to Nibbana. These were Buddha's sayings. So, the idea here is that even metta practice is enough. All right, any questions? I can share this note. Yeah, I will show you. First jhana is one, second jhana second, third. These are different methods to attain Nibbana. You don't have to go gradually. That's interesting. Now, if you want to bypass the jhanas, Hindu jhanas, you can bypass here. But the problem is you will not come to third jhana without first two. So, I think you can look for first jhana. First jhana means first jhana. Even when you suspend 5 hindrances and then you come to the first jhana easily, then you can bring that practice to anicca. This is what the Burmese tradition say vipassana. There is no vipassana over here. Same meditation. So you can use first jhana to go to the anicca and then overcome all the defilements. Become an arahant. Because they actually frown upon the first jhana. No, you have to practice samatha long, vipassana long, very strict. You don't need to sleep, don't sleep. Just because you are hardworking, this Nibbana will not come to you. Nibbana is a peace of mind. It is not something that you will attain by hard work. We don't have hard work in Buddhism. That's an old narrative. Even today's world, people don't believe hard work. Now we have smart work, isn't it? You ask from young people, no, I don't want a hard work. Smart work. Same idea in Buddhism. It's an old narrative, Western American narrative. If you hard work, you get money. But now, even you hard work, you don't get that much money. Right? Because all the, what you call corporate world is connected to the internet. So, it won't happen. So, this is not hard work. This is what I call effortless effort. Effortless effort. You have to balance out your virya, energy, at the same time. Try to look for this first jhana or metta. You can either start from metta or you can start from first jhana. Now, one thing is the way how the Hindu people describe jhana and how the Buddha explained jhana, they are carrying two different contexts. Unfortunately, a lot of meditations are going with the Hindu way of practicing jhanas. This is a problem. Yes. I think I'm already done. Yes. Yes. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. I will share this note with you under the WhatsApp group. And finally, 3 arupavachara jhanas, 11. Akasananchayatana, viññānañchayatana, akinchanyayatana. Arupavachara jhana. That means you have to. Now, if somebody wants to look for akasananchayatana, that person must have practiced first, second, third, fourth jhanas. There are some people who want to try out some stuff. Akasananchayatana means when you practice first 4 jhanas, you will feel that the space is not only attached to the 4 aggregates, 4 elements. Now you see, even this has more pataviya. That means this has more patavi, very solid. But what about the apo? Do you see any watery liquid here? Where is that apo? Only when you burn it, you will see watery element comes out. Then, where is tejo? Yes, when you keep holding this, you will feel some heat temperature. Where is motion? Does this have motion? Akasa? It has motion. That is why when you do certain things to this, you will see you can do certain things. Maybe you can carve certain things. But now, when a meditator practices the first 4 jhanas, he only thought pataviyapo tejo vayo only lies within a small object. Now he understands there is more space everywhere. Space. All these objects are placed between spaces. So he is going to objectify space and then meditate on that. After some time, somebody want to go further, he or she find it's not only the space. Space is just a labeling. It is just my consciousness. I bring my mindset to the space. There is no space. It is just my mind that I use for understanding space. So he meditates on that as an object to practice jhanas. Then somebody goes a step further. He or she thinks nothing exists. There is no space. There is no consciousness but emptiness, nothingness. Akinchanya. He is going to meditate on nothingness. Actually, there is nothing in the world. All are labeling. Huh? But don't call, you are an empty being. Huh? Some people might say, hey, Panchakanda, how are you doing today? I mean, that's pretty bad to say, Just because we understand this Panchaka, we don't say, hello Panchakanda, hello Panchakandas. But we understand it's a conventional way of calling people. But deep down our understanding, it is a way that we label. Yes, you have a question?
Yes, Bhante. Just now you're talking about the first jhana. We don't have to emerge from there. In the first jhana itself, we can do a reflection on anicca.
Can go to nibbana.
Yeah, but what I understand is there is no thoughts. How does the reflection comes out? Is there still thoughts in the first jhana? Thoughts, thinking.
No, thoughts are there.
Thoughts are there.
Yeah, vitakka vichara. Vitakka vichara means two stages of your thoughts. Applied thought, sustained thought.
Okay.
You have a thought, that means vitakka, and you need vichara to mount it. Like you have a tripod is vitakka. Now you have to mount that thought on that tripod. That means vichara. So they are there.
I thought that thought is supposed to sustain the thoughts, means is on the object that we are holding on to for the meditation. Sustain the application of the thoughts. Like the in-breath, out-breath, we are holding on to that.
I think you have you have gone to a roja.
maybe.
Malaysia. So I think what you have to understand is what is somebody going to think about? What is the preparation? How someone is attaining first jhana? Don't think about Attakanagara Sutta, this particular teaching. It is said, Vivicheva kame, vivicha akusale, savitakkang savicharam, pīti sukham patamajjana upasampajja viharati. Having abandoned viviccheva all the akusalas, mostly 5 hindrances. And then vivicchakamehi, having abandoned kamas, one is going to mount his mindset on the vitakka vichara pīti sukhano ekaggata. So that means that person is enter into that stage with some thoughts. Thoughts mean he is going to what you call suspend kamachanda vyapada tīna midda uddachakura vichikicca for a short time. So he's trying to bring his mindset onto the pole opposite of those 5. That is how he is attaining the first jhana. This is the Hindu way. Hindu and Buddhist are same at that point. But how does the first jhana or whatever the jhanas become changed according to Buddhism is that once you attain the first jhana, you are going to shifting that first jhana onto the anicca perspective. And then you're going to work on that. How are you going to work on that? You think that this first jhana is condition, sankhara. This first jhana is volition, because I wanted to attain first jhana. So it was made intentionally. Then you are focusing everything that is sankhara, that is cetana, they are subject to changes, anicca. Then you are making your way either in this life or next life.
Okay. Because I was given the information that we have to emerge from the jhanas to go into vipassana, to contemplate on
this
anicca.
happens when you learn some later techniques. I don't want to say their names.
Okay.
Yeah, they have jumble out all these.
Okay.
Made a
Thank you,
salad.
Bhante. Thank you.
Yes. That's why learn meditation from the early texts, not from these meditation styles. Yes. Not necessarily, but they have been given as a set. But it doesn't say that after Mettā you have to go Karuna, but we should have them as Brahma Viharas. We should practice in our daily life. But if you want to meditate particularly, you have to pick one. Because some people are good at Mettā. Some people are good at Mudita. So you have to understand which one works for you and then use this method to attain Nibbana. Attaka Nagara Sutta, Majjhima Nikāya 52. Majjhima Nikāya 52. Any other questions? Yes.
Bhante, you mentioned first jhana, second jhana, and we follow up with anicca.
No, I said
anicca.
any jhana is a possibility to attain Nibbana. Any jhana.
Yeah. It's related to the 10 factors.
10 fetters.
Yeah, because...
You mean Sakkaya Ditthhiya and so forth?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the thing is, for Sakadagami, the first 5 factors are actually eradicated, correct? For that means for
some people
until Anagami.
Some people have to go one by one. Some people do a direct jump to Nibbana. That's the problem you are struggling here. You don't have to be necessarily a Sotapanna to attain Nibbana. Some people, they take time, so they have to go through Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami. Some people, they directly jump onto Anagami because they are blessed enough in their karmas and in this life.
No, but then the thing is, when you mention the first jhana, going to Nibbana, that means that person already also eradicated 10 factors from this first jhana?
Yeah, in his anicca practice, he or she is making that happen.
So we don't need this 4th jhana to eradicate these 10 factors?
Don't compare jhanas to the fetters. What we understand here is that somebody may be an exceptional person, unique person here. Not everybody can do, maybe, probably. A unique person who is very capable of doing this only uses first jhana to attain Nibbana. So, during that time of attaining Nibbana, making way from first jhana's state of mind onto anicca, that person is eradicating the fetters that you are talking about. During that process, this is not that you attain first jhana today, by tonight you are attaining Nibbana. Right? So when you practice anicca, actually when we practice anicca, Sakkaya Ditthi has a chance to be gone. Because when you practice anicca, we don't have to hold on to our ego. So there's a better chance of going away. Sakkaya Ditthi has a better chance of going away. When you practice anicca, you might not hold on to extreme sila. No silabbata parama. So I think those whatever fetters will be easily diminished and then overcome by someone. But I do have to say, not everybody may be able to do this, right? Some people have to take longer time, become a sotapanna slowly, and then take a couple more life to attain sakadagami. Each one is different. But if you are wise enough, if you are blessed enough, if you have done so many good karmas in past life, then you can still use first jhana, even metta, even this metta practice to attain nibbana. But practice right metta, okay, not the wrong metta, otherwise you'll be bitten by a snake.
Thank you.
Could you go to the mic? Yes. Because online audience is hearing. Yeah, better. Okay, you're almost there.
Sorry.
Yes.
I had a talk with someone, and he was saying, all our karmas, we can't change someone's karma. So when we do metta, we can't really change, although we are sort of trying to radiate whatever loving kindness to the other. So what is it we are actually changing? Is it the conditions for the other party?
What do you mean by now? You are talking about a scenario that somebody can change somebody's karma. Is it something like that? Or you are talking about your own karma or metta?
No, because I was sort of discussing this metta, whether when we radiate metta, the other person was saying, no, it doesn't really reach the other person. It's only ourselves we are changing. Okay. It's our view that we are changing. So we're changing ourselves, we smile, we are happier and all that. So we don't really affect the other person's karma.
Yes.
Okay. So then how does it, change the snake?
That's what I was talking at the beginning. We have to make our metta practice to be felt by the other person, to be felt by the other person. That's why the
through
snake,
us.
Yeah, through us.
Oh.
That's why that snake did not feel it. Right? The snake did not feel it, so he just used the natural instincts to bite the monk. So then the problem is, if you think that other person is not feeling your metta, that means your metta practice has some issues. That means you haven't done it properly according to the Mettā Sutta. So we have to then deepen our metta practice through the Mettā Sutta. That's the answer.
Okay, so
you look the other way. Some people send some bad things to other people, cursing. They feel, I felt something, right? If it can go, that means if people are doing the proper metta, it can also go. Have you ever noticed something like this? What a coincidence. You really love somebody, you think about somebody, that person calls you in that moment. That means it is going to that person. Yes. You suddenly, you're getting a call. You're getting a message. That means you are doing truly that thing. Right? Now this is a living proof that you are doing it well. So why don't you bring then metta in the same way? That is your personal love, maybe. Why don't you do the same thing in the metta way? So that means it can go, it can transcend, it can go to the other person. Yes, your question? You got the answer, okay. Okay. So if you want to share experience, talk it loud. Please go there. It's good, everybody hears, everybody will be happy. Yes.
Good afternoon, Bhante.
Yes.
When you do loving kindness meditation,
Metta.
Metta to all beings, there is a possibility the beings somehow like you and come to your place and reside in your residence. That's experience. Like my house is near to a hill where they have a lot of seaweeds. So when
Lot of what?
seaweed, musang, cats, the wild cat, seaweed, civet,
Seaweeds. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So got one time I was doing Mettā meditation to all beings, and this seaweed come and reside in my roof there and bear kids. After that, I was so scared because I had to spend money to close the opening because I think the seaweed opened something, the hole there, and then reside with kids with the cubs. Because my neighbor house is also, they feed the cat, so the cat food is left 24 hours, 7 days. So the seaweed find my location, stay in my rooftop there, and at night come to my neighbor's house and feed the cat food. So after that, I also quite
Worried about it.
worried about. So don't
Now
think-
I wonder how did you practice? Did you invite them to come or did you just practice metta? No, never invite those beings to come to your house. Then they will come. So you
Bhante,
invite. It's an open invitation,
Yeah, Bhante, you
When
got
you practice metta, you be kind and whatever. Don't come to my house.
Yeah, Bhante, you got the thing. I also, because we want to, sometimes I just do my own self practice. I also say, come and, because we want to be grateful,
That's
come
right. So
and
they come. You already gave an open invitation to these beings. So if you gave that, even these bhuta, other petas also can come. Yeah. It's not good. It's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous. So we thought that the spirit come, okay, because they don't make
Yes.
damage to your house, But this spirit come and make a hole at the rooftop.
Yeah. No, I'm not concerned about XYZ, lot of information. What I'm saying is that what is happening to you is that you are doing a metta practice that is not structured according to Mettā Sutta. I mean, not even you, most of maybe people. So please read the second part of the Mettā Sutta. Do it in that way. So you will do them. You are not making any problem with those invisible beings or visible beings.
Because we
Yeah.
self-practice, we just practice on
Yeah,
our
people
own.
pick up certain teachings from different people and practice metta. That is not good. And they are going to have certain issues in their life, right?
Yeah.
So please read. I will send you the notes about the Mettā Sutta. Then you will find out your own metta practice according to the Mettā Sutta, not somebody's opinionated thoughts. When you bring them inside your house, then you will have to live with them, right? Yes, you have a question too? I think we passed the time of some meditation, but it's okay. I think you have questions. Yes, please go ahead.
Sorry. Bhante, actually, after listening to this talk, I personally see many events arising as reality. Okay, in the sense that sometimes we listen to whoever is our instructor, so we have one set of following. But I find that the structure that you have done for this 2 days retreat, very well founded, very clear cut. In other words, whatever you have put up goes into a very conclusive, what do you call, you created these 16 kilesas, okay?
I think you are commenting on the whole retreat, huh? You don't please do it in the afternoon, actually, yes. But thank you, though. You have a question about metta practice in particular?
Yes.
Okay, please. Thank you, though. Save information.
I am confused now because whether as a practitioner, is it better for me to just practice breath meditation and that's it? See? Because the way you explain it is very clear. Whatever you practice, you need to be structured. Thank you, Bhante.
Yes. Yes. How does someone attain first jhana? By satipatthanas too. By breath meditation. So it's pretty clear. It's clear cut. Now, when you practice jhanas, the breath meditation, it will lead you to end up with first jhana. So, breath meditation and these 11 meditation types are not separate. So, they are blended. So, yes, you can. So, you will attain first jhana, then make it to the nibbana by bringing it to anicca. Let's take probably a couple of minutes for any other questions about metta today, particularly metta. I think we could not talk about how to overcome the 16 upakkilesas. That thing I have to add. Maybe I will add after the questions, about metta. Any questions about today metta practice that we introduce the Buddha's ideas that metta can alone be conducive to nibbana. Karuna alone can be conducive. Mudita alone can be conducive. Upekkha alone, even the first jhana alone can be conducive. All right, till you come up with a question, let me tell you how to overcome these 16 upakkilesas. I already shared with you a very wonderful teaching about the Buddha to overcome any akusala right on the spot in the real time. What is it? Reflection. Paccavekkhana. That means you have to reflect before, during, after, through your 3 doors, through your thoughts, through your speech, through your actions. That is the best, the most way to overcome 16. But how to identify these 16? That means, although you practice reflection, if you don't know what they are separately, you might not catch them. That's why I taught you abhijja means extreme greed about what you have. Then when it comes, you know, this is that through the help of reflection. So once they arise, you know what is coming up, what is arising, what is bottling up. In the same way, if you go to anything, let's say vanity, the 15 one. Let's say you are somebody, now there's one mother called Purekkara mother. What is it? Purekkara mother. That means every time when you are doing something with a group of people, you want to take it up. You don't like other people take it up. If it is a religious thing, spiritual thing, you want to be in the front line. No, I had to do it. I remember one story a long time ago. There was a group of people who offered a katina. And then it's a group of people. But the lady who offered, somebody has to offer to Sangha. Not everybody can come to the Sangha and offer. One lady has to pick it up and then offer. But other ladies were not happy about it. I said, why? You never know the purpose of dana. Dana means giving up, not giving. You will give, but give up after. That means you haven't learned dana in the proper way. We had a forum over here about dana a couple of days ago. Dana means initially you are giving physically, but then you are giving up in your mind. Now, I think you guys have not given up the rope in your mind. You are picking up that one lady. It's okay. Let her offer it. Right? So that means purekkaramada. If we do a good thing, I have to do it. Not other people can do that. That's an intoxication. Who cares other people do? Let them do. Then, because that is your happiness. Right? You have to understand the bare minimum version of your kusala kammas. That's why in some books, some texts, even the Buddha is talking, you don't need to pluck the flowers from the tree. Once you pluck the flower, the time a flower is going to survive is going to be cut short. Then why do I pluck the flower? Then I just think, may the flowers in this particular tree, may this jasmine, mallika flowers bear respect to the Buddha. That's it. If you can make up that mind, what a great mind is that. But if you think, no, I have to pluck all these flowers, I don't care who owns that. This is my Buddha, I'm going to offer it. And not even you are going to overcome your Sakkaya Ditthi, you have brought Buddha to Sakkaya Ditthi too. My Buddha. So when you understand these 16 upakkilesas, you have to understand them. So then you are able to identify once they arise as a combo or as separately. Then you know, true reflection, you understand them, you know what to do. You know they are harmful, they are dangerous, they are delaying my practice, so I gotta let them go and not let them grow. And I let grow good stuff, the opposite, polar opposites of these 16. Abhijja Visamalobha, I am going to replace Abhijja Visamalobha with a full version of dana, giving and giving up. I am going to overcome second Vyapada upakkilesa with goodwill, lot of Mettā. I am going to overcome anger with Mettā. I am going to overcome upanaha with Mettā. They all are part of Mettā practice. I am going to overcome makkha with gratitude. Remember? Those who are not grateful, they have makkha. They erase good things other people did for them. Those who are having palasa, they are going to overcome that with clarity of the mind, understanding the reality, what happened. Those who are going to overcome issa, jealousy, with mudita, altruistic joy. Those who are going to overcome maccharya, avarice, stinginess, with dana. Those who are going to overcome maya with acceptance of one's own akusalas. Those people who are concealing one's own akusalas have maya. So we don't have to conceal, but don't tell your akusalas to the wrong person. Then that person will misuse your akusala. Right? But you tell to a kalyana mitra, a good person who you can trust, then that person will advise you. Those people who have sateya, fraud, going to overcome sateya with right living, samma ajiva. Those who have tamba, hot-headed, stubbornness, with open-minded, being able to listen to other people, kalyana mitras. Those who have saramba, who want to emulate, outsmart other people, want to practice a meditation like anapanasati, understanding the reality. Those who have mana, conceit, going to practice anatimani quality, given in the Mettā Sutta. Those who have atimana also do the same thing. Those who have mother, going to practice anapanasati in particular, because then you understand this is an intoxication. I don't let myself grow in intoxication. Those who have pamada, negligence, have to practice appamada, diligence. So with reflection and also through a wide understanding about these 16 separately, you are going to abort the mission of these 16 upakkilesas, and you're going to actually outrightly remove them. You're going to respond to them outrightly, not let them appear for some time and then to work on it. You deal with them at the time, not after. Because Buddha in many places talk about why people have been failed in their practice. It's because they know this is akusala, but they don't see them at the time. Janatova pasatova. Janato, they know this is akusala, but when the akusala is happening, they don't understand this is akusala. They let it happen. And the Buddha says, Janato is not enough, passato is also very important. Janato means you know it, but passato means being able to see the true mechanism of how akusalas arise for whatever the reasons, how they exist, and how bad impact or how they are going to play havoc on your spiritual, personal, worldly life. All right, so almost 10:50. Any questions about Mettā or overall upakkilesas? The last talk today. We're not having any talks after this.
Bhante, is your solution to this, is it in your right talk or in another sutta?
The solutions to these 16 upakkilesas have to be found upon from other suttas. Now, as I told you, it is paccavekkhana, reflection. Is the best way to work with these 16 as an antidote. And you also, with paccavekkhana, reflection, you are going to look at the opposite of these 16, the good side of these 16. So you are going to deal with them appropriately. All right, any other questions about Mettā or upakkilesas? Don't worry, I will share all these notes. Don't have to worry, so you can see in your spare time.
Bhante, you say many cannot see their kilesas, these upakkilesas.
No, we can see if we want, but we don't want to see them.
So how do we train ourselves so that we can see them clearly?
Reflection.
Reflection,
Yes.
not mindfulness.
Oh,
Practice.
reflection leads to mindfulness. I don't take this word called mindfulness, I said sati. When you have a good reflection, it leads to sati. Because without reflection, you cannot bring yourself to sati. That's why reflection is the default practice. It's the default. That default will be transformed into sati, sampajanya, and all that after that. But before that, the starting point is reflection. You have to reflect what you think before, during, after. What you talk before, during, after. What you act before, during, after. So it's the default level of our action plan in order to abort the happenings of these 16 or any other akusalas.
Yes, but in our daily life, seldom do we reflect when the anger arises. So it is very important that we practice our mindfulness every day?
Reflection. Reflection helps you to practice sati. I already shared with all of you how to respond to anger yesterday. I said there are 3 things you can do as a pre-practice, as a during practice, as a post-practice. That means Mettā cannot be practiced during anger. You will respond to anger with a trained practice of Mettā, but you may not be able to practice Mettā at the time because you are dealing with that emotion. During the time, reflection takes over. If you could, that will lead to mindfulness. And then as a post-practice, you are going to review what happened. So anger is a basic emotion, akusala, but you are going to reduce that with pre-practice, during, after.
So that means it's more important to practice Mettā in our everyday life.
More important to practice reflection. Thereby you will understand Mettā, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha, Sati, Sampajanya, all the rest of the ancillary states of mind. Because when the things are happening, we are not able to tap into these higher concepts, higher states of mind. It is only the reflection helps us to gear our mind onto those states of mind. Don't know whether you get that. Now, when the akusalas are happening in our life, although you see that sati, sampajanya, and these are lofty states of mind, you are not able to tap into them because you think that the event phenomenon with regard to that akusala is higher than all of them because you are struggling with them. That's why this default mode called reflection is helpful because then we know is what I'm thinking wholesome or not. I have to reflect upon that. Then if it is unwholesome, bring sati, bring sampajanya. But you are going to that practice through reflection, paccavekkhana.
But Bhante say we have to do the pre-reflection, there's the pre, the during, and the post, correct or not? So we need to practice the pre more first.
No, let me tell you. Now, I think you are picking up anger here. Now, I have told two things here. One thing is that not specializing one particular akusala. I said for every akusala, a very good practice, the default practice is reflection. You have to practice reflection all the time, even pre, during, after. But if you are picking up anger only, then anger can be overcome in three steps. That means as a pre-practice, as a during practice, as a post-practice. In that case, Mettā is going to be a pre-practice. And then as a during practice for anger, reflection will be the best. And a post-anger practice, I would recommend yoniso manasikara, wise attention. Then you will get to the bottom of that angry reason why I came up with anger, why the other person went wrong, went mad, gone mad actually. That is how we look at it. So there are two ways. Reflection is the common activity that we should do for all the akusalas: jealousy, anger, minor frustrations, irritations, anything out of these 16. But if you get down to certain akusalas, then we can go to pre-practice, during practice, after practice.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Good. Yes, Eva.
Bhante, I have a question from Rahul Vada.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean, meditate like water, for example? The word like, does it mean regardless to have a neutral feeling or to imagine being like water?
I think it's about the shadow, right? If you left the water in that sutta, yeah, you don't see the reflection.
Okay.
Right? If you have the water in the basin, you see the reflection. So that is how the analogy is given in the Ambalattika Rahulwada Sutta. If you left the water, spilled it, you don't see the reflection. But if you leave the water in the basin, you see the reflection. So that means you have to bring actions, thoughts, and words into the reflection, which ultimately leads to the paccavekkhana. Paccavekkhitva kayena kammankātam. Having reflected, we have to do our actions. Paccavekkhitva vācāya kammankātam. Having reflected, we have to speak. Paccavekkhitva manasāya kammankātam. Having reflected, we have to create thoughts. This is what the Buddha said to his son, Rahula, the best piece of advice. This is called paccavekkhana. All right, I think it's almost 11 o'clock. We have to go. Any questions? You have another question? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's part of yoniso manasikara. When you practice yoniso manasikara, you trace back to the experience and you trace forward to the experience. Let's say somebody was mean to you, and then you're going to trace back that experience. Then how do you trace back? Now what happened to you? You got a vedana. You got a vedana, feeling. The vedana was not nice. Somebody was mean to you. Somebody misused you. Then you're going to trace backward up to avijja. Avijja paccaya sankhara. Sankhara paccaya vijnana. Vijnana paccaya namrupam. Namrupa paccaya salayatana. Salayatana paccaya passu. Passu paccaya vedana. Then now you are going to see the repercussion side of that experience. You're going to trace forward. Vedana paccaya tanha. Tanha paccaya upadana. Upadana paccaya bhava. I think it's a little bit higher way of thinking about it. I don't recommend for normal lay people like that. I mean, unless you cannot. As a normal, easy practice for everybody is yoniso manasikara in a way that you try to understand what happened. But if you want to go further, you may go further. It's like a river for us is a river, but for a poet, it's going to be a poem, right? But it's not a poem to us. But still, we know what is happening during the reflection, and yoniso manasikara is none other than cause and effect theory. Not cause and effect. Cause creates effect, effect creates cause. This is what is happening. Yes. I think for lay people, it's better to practice reflection, because then they can manage. Otherwise, they will fill up their head with all these big things, and when they go home, when the bad things are coming up, they burst. They cannot deal with them. So I taught you a very simple thing, reflection. But at times you can think about why that person was mean to me. Maybe something else affected. Yeah? All right, so let's finish our Dhamma talk today morning and then go for the walking meditation, because around 11:30 we are going to have our lunch dana. And may all the good karmas we've been making today, especially during our Dhamma talk. The Dhamma talk is about, can Mettā alone help us attain nibbana? Yes. Not even Mettā. First jhana, second, third, fourth, Mettā, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha, Akasanan Chayatana, Vijñānan Chayatana, Akinchanya. They all are individual supportives to attain nibbana. But first jhana or Mettā, they are quite easy to understand. So we learn something new. So whenever you hear that if somebody wants to attain nibbana, one must go first, second, third, fourth jhana. That is the only way to attain nibbana. That is going to be in conflict with this teaching. That means this is what the Buddha said. That is the Hindu way of attaining jhanas, and then with some modifications given by some schools lately in the 18th century. So we understand the Buddha clearly said, he's very adamant about these things, that he said even first jhana is enough, even Mettā is enough, if you properly practice those things and then shift onto anicca concept. May all these good karmas we've been making up to this point be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. The Dhamma talk went for 2 hours and 30 minutes. It's a pretty long Dhamma talk. All right, let's do a walking meditation now. And by 11:20, 11:30, we will be having dana over here with reflection. Huh? Okay, I hope that we're getting bentos today, not a buffet style, which getting some delay. Okay, okay, good.